Welcome back. I am so excited to bring you this conversation with my dear friend, Sunny Lou Williams. What you're going to hear today is two women riffing on the state of being a woman in the workplace and entrepreneurship and women's healthcare and just all the things that we are seeing as women and also leaders and business owners. And we're also going to talk to you about the Power of the Matriarch conference. We are bringing 100 women together in Chicago this April for a 2.5-day unconference. Think of a lot of the traditional conference structure with way more time to build intimate connection and relationships and to actually formulate solutions to some of the problems that you might be facing with incredible other women, hearing from panelists and keynote speakers and going on excursions and having intimate dinners. It's going to be great. But Sunny and I sat down to talk about why we're doing this, why the two of us came together at this time, and what we're really hoping to create with the Power of the Matriarch movement and what it means to us. I want you to imagine that we're all at a restaurant in an intimate booth in the back corner, and we are just having one of those conversations that women have where we jump from topic to topic and we find our way to connect all those dots, and that you're there with us. And that's how I want all of these episodes where I'm interviewing these women to feel, because that's all we're really doing. We definitely know some stuff. We definitely have perspective, but the power of these deep conversations and these natural ways that women connect is what we want to encourage all of you to be doing. Get together, share your stories, talk about what kind of world you want to see, and start building it together. I hope you love this conversation. And if you're looking for a 2.5-day getaway where you can be in an incredible city with amazing women, really thinking about a brighter future for everyone, then we would love to see you in Chicago.
Teresa.
Sunny.
My good friend.
So good to see you.
Let's talk about how this incredible Power of the Matriarch Unconference came together.
Well, it feels like it's 10 years in the making.
I firmly believe that.
Because you and I have been trying to find our synchronicity in all the ways that we work. And I feel like this is the most synchronicity we've had in the sense of alignment, where we are, what we want to accomplish together. And so I'm just really excited to collaborate with you again and bring women together through our collaboration. Yeah, let me be succinct. When I was 22, my lovely mother passed away from breast cancer. And it wasn't just that I lost her, it was that her life for 10 years was just about cancer. And she did a lot of things to do more than that. If my mother was battling cancer, nobody knew unless she lived in her home. She just was alive the whole time, even though she was fighting for her life. So that really informed my worldview. It was like my compass was in my hands and then someone took it, because it's a formative age. And my mom was a very big part of my life. And I had that grief for a long time. It was like a heavy backpack. And I was just tired of wearing the backpack, but I didn't exactly know how you take that backpack off, because I don't think you really get to get rid of it. You lose your parents, you lose someone you love, you never really are the same. But I wanted to honor her, and I wanted to honor her spirit, and I wanted to carry on the work of what she did in the community when I was growing up, which was gathering women and artists together to do these diversity events and championing love and kindness. So for me, it was like, okay, that's the way I can stay alive through this. So we started Love, Lizzie, which is basically a signature, if you will. Like, imagine that my mom is still alive and she's writing me love letters. And so every time I get a letter in the mail, it's like, Love, Lizzie. And it's that feeling of like, this person has my back, this person's on my team, this person's thinking about me. And so we created an organization. We started with some small retreats at this little farmhouse that I have.
Your farmhouse. Your farmhouse, which you've beautifully decorated.
Thank you. I painted the shutters pink.
Yes, put every single ounce of love. I cannot wait to go visit. Every time I see every room that you zoom in when we chat, I'm like, I need to be here.
Yeah. And I was like, what would happen? Because I grew up in the movie business. And so I was in a very male-dominated, very fast-paced, competitive industry. And I loved it. I had so much fun. But I also saw that there weren't a lot of women in the room. And young women were trying to figure out how to break through. And I had to compromise my values a lot in that time. But I dreamed of a world where women could go to spaces that were like beautiful and floral.
And not apologize for it.
I would like to have 100 Love Lizzies across the world, but we have to start somewhere. And so I built this little house. We've had women there for the past 2 years for different retreats, business, life. health, and we kind of weave all those things together. Our mission is pretty simple. We care about health and wellness for women, we care about economic security for women, we care about strong communities for women, and we care about creativity and entrepreneurship through women. So we help women build businesses that allow them to feed their families and fuel their creativity. We do that in an incubation space that doesn't just say this is about business, because your career is about who you are holistically. And so we find it really compelling and effective to wrap our arms around the whole woman and all the identities she has to live out and help her navigate all of those at the same time, because that's the reality.
I love that you're saving and holding the space to say, be who you want to be while we are helping you, focusing on developing not only your mission and how to get there, but you yourself as you become a different person going through this journey.
Totally.
And I love that, because that sacredness of that space is not an environment that we have in our workplaces. It's a place that we have to create. We talk so much about being your authentic self, but we don't consider the risk of when you bring your authentic self to organizations or to environments that only say the words but don't really hold the space.
Well, there's no space for emotions. And it's funny because my job as a consultant and coach has become like the emotions counselor in a way in these organizations, because change is difficult, leadership is difficult, it's personal, you have these humans you're responsible for, but like there is no vernacular or structure to talk about the emotionality of those things. And so I feel like I myself am the sacred space, so I like wherever I go, I'll be in these one-on-ones with employees that I'm coaching, and we're doing the Love Lizzie work because it's necessary for them to achieve the KPIs or whatever the structure is in the business, because they have to be whole in themselves. And when they're strong, they do an incredible job at work. They're incredible leaders. But when they're carrying a heavy backpack and no one's helping them figure that out, it's exhausting.
Absolutely.
Right?
You cannot lead if you are not well. And you cannot continue to have this particular face in this particular environment and continue to switch up who you are, how you respond, having to be presenting and performative all the time. And so the power of the matriarch is absolutely this culmination of development. It's gone through a decade of experiences on both of our ends of trial and error to determine how is this going to work and what can the ladies that come and share this time and space with us, what are they truly going to be taking away? So before we delve into that, we're going to go back a little bit in time. I had the, now in hindsight, privilege of graduating during every major recession. It was this very trying time with the stock market impacts, with very limited jobs available, and you have these wonderful, talented people that are coming up and graduating from the ranks with nowhere to go. And it's incredibly debilitating to think, I've worked all of these years to now do what? It was very formative, and I felt that in these environments, I really just had to try every role. I remember being in this telecom company going, I'm not trained for this. I don't have any background in this, but I've landed here. I remember answering phones, going through and packaging boxes in our fulfillment warehouse. And then because of both networking and relationships and just having phenomenal mentors, I was really pushed very quickly into all of these additional leadership roles that I constantly felt, I'm not ready for this. I don't know how to actually ensure that not only am I running the business well, but am I taking care of these people? Because our organization grew so quickly. We went from 20 to 50 to 100 to 240 people. Fast forward, that became 13 years of my life later. Because it was just firefighting, it was doing the work, working 80 to 100-hour weeks, flying to wherever I needed to be on a red eye, rolling out from the airport into the first meetings, going through the whole day. And I never once stopped and thought, am I okay? It was just one thing after another after another. The most formative time frame for me actually came in about 2017, 2018 time frame, where things were going very poorly at my prior company because the board and I had a very large disagreement about the direction of where our division was going to go.
That's hard.
And so at that time, there was, again, an additional recession. And so we came out of that with a decision that we were going to close one of our largest departments. I remember working with our staff placement agency. We were 243 individuals at that time.
Layoffs are so heartbreaking.
They're so heartbreaking.
They're so heartbreaking.
I said, this decision is a decision that we made. I am going to personally have the layoff conversation with every single team member. But we have 243 team members. We need to create a logistics plan. We need to have groups of individuals come in. Yeah. And at the end of every single group, I'm going to ask them to not say anything to their colleagues because I wanted to be the one to deliver the message. Yeah. We had to do this over the course of 3 days. I broke down every single session and said, this has nothing to do with you. This is the decision of the business, and here is what will happen. That was a pivotal point in my career because that was the first awakening of I can choose how I lead and how I do business. It's still my face that carry out how it's being done. From that point on, I had to determine what kind of leader do I want to be. Yeah. You have to balance what are we doing on a personal level with how we run our businesses, the external factors we can't control, and the systemic issues that are across the board.
There's a programming that we go through. Work is a vortex. It's its own energy. And so even to ask yourself, like, I don't have time to ask how I feel. Yeah. What a luxury, you guys. Well, no, actually, you think you don't have time, but you really won't have time in 10 years if you don't start asking that now, right? And I think that's what's so powerful about your story is the energetic and spiritual effect of having to do that with 240 people. And then to look at yourself. And I think there's also something really beautiful about what you said there, Sunny, because I think a lot of leaders, and I think I was one of them, I was like, I gotta leave this to be myself. And that's a really, really challenging choice. I love entrepreneurship. I love helping women build small businesses, but it is not easy. No. So when you have been living in a corporate structure for your career, you understand a paycheck, that's how you built your family. If you start asking those questions, the next question that comes up might be, is this even for me? What does it mean to stay and still get to be myself?
But ultimately, it is the question of what is the right answer for me right now? Yes. And I never asked that question in the 13 years that I worked for an organization that just kept sending me fires to fight. And then I woke up and I went, wow, but now you're telling me, though we have the money, though we have success, though we have the resources, we're going to choose not to weather this. Then what does that say about all of the energy, time, and efforts that I gave you? But ultimately it comes down to those interpersonal one-on-one relationships. And my former boss and mentor, Albert Chen, was very gracious. And he's like, well, Sunny, I think you should just, do what you want to do and take off and do it. And I thought to myself, this is the nicest way anybody's ever been fired. But he saw the potential and the direction of what I could do before I even committed to doing it. So in simply the number of minutes and hours in a day, when are you caring for yourself? Right. Because now I have the luxury to actually focus on systems change based upon my own personal experiences, which is an incredible privilege. But I also made the decision to go that route.
But it is so segmented and so siloed and not cohesive and strategic that women are getting lost and they're paying for it. Not just in their physical setting, but in their money. We did what you told us to do. We put it away. We have a 401k. Well, now we're borrowing it to save our lives.
The economic value is what's going to position the financial resources, the investment, and continue the momentum. I love that we are right now on the verge of significant investment support to women's health.
It's what your unique position is that you see those ways that those things connect and you can build the systems. I come into systems and reevaluate how the system should connect. But I think that's why it's so interesting and I think so powerful that we're meeting in Chicago in the heart of the Midwest where all the states connect at the central part of the country.
We selected Chicago not only because it's my hometown and we love it.
Same. Mom's from there.
Yes. Chicago showed us who Chicago is. And Chicago has been very clear of what Chicago believes in. What it means is every single woman that attends already has a system that she undertakes for her own individual life. The logistics of how you get up in the morning, all the way through to how you run your business, whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader of a nonprofit agency, or an executive, you already have a day-to-day script. Now what we're doing is saying, from the Power of the Matrix side, here are technology tools that you may not have been aware of, that we are going to literally onboard you and integrate you with, so that it can not only provide efficiencies, but measure that level of effort so we understand the economic value and impact of the work that you are doing.
As Love Lizzie creates sacred spaces for women to prosper, one of the ways that we've been effective in that is the intimacy of the groups. You go on walks together in between sessions, you eat meals together. It's really this like intimate environment. Then the facilitators or whoever is doing the workshop gets to intimately spend time with each of you. We have curated a very, very specific experience with the numbers in mind. And so with that transition, what we've done is we've created these core 5 groups, which is your idea. So taking the Love Lizzie intimacy model and saying, okay, we want to have that intimate connection. We want you to leave this conference feeling like you maybe met a best friend or a woman that you feel like you've known for 100 years and you just met her. What I love about the way that you design this is thinking about industry specific. So if we put our healthcare and our health tech groups together, then at least you're going to be talking about similar subjects, and you're might going to be also be talking about similar cultures. And so you're with these core 5, you're going to make hopefully lifelong friends, but then you're also industry specifically networking.
With the tech that we're providing to you, the mentor and mentee engagement platform, the AI studio, and then also the comprehensive wellness, it's engage mentoring, intuition, and what friends do. Very simplified to say, when you're in a role of asking, it's vulnerable.
Which is why community is so necessary, because you have 6 brains or 10 brains looking at something, and having that brain trust for ideas, solutions, because no one can answer what do I need. I'm going to tell you I don't need anything, I just need to keep going. I just need to get through it.
And the structural component of that is when somebody asks, what do you need? Our brains go immediate to right now, short term, midterm, long term, multiplier effect that you are taken care of, who you take care of is taken care of. And as we look at for the business side, right? And as we level up and looking at how do we make decisions for our businesses, because we need our businesses to scale and grow and ensure that there's more opportunities for capital infusion, for cash flow and ongoing investment. We rebranded and labeled our internal tech stack as an AI studio called Intuition to really help women that are part of our Power 100 to have the information, have the business policies. Why reinvent the wheel? Here's what it is.
Absolutely. Just imagine the time saved to have a reference library of things when that question pops up. As women leaders, the level of thoroughness and intentionality and perfectionism that we believe we need to lead with, we slow ourselves down because the amount of research we want to do to understand the problem set and feel like we're knowledgeable enough to make decisions is what is a differentiator. And so when you provide these libraries of information, these mentors, where you can get a quick answer to a question, get in that session, get out for 30 minutes, come back, that is going to create an expediting of your decision making and of your effectiveness at what you're trying to accomplish, which is going to actually give you time back.
The gap between what is accessible and what is in your standards perfect requires more of your time to bridge. And that level of effort in our workplaces that women have to undertake and shoulder the burden on is absolutely, in my opinion, the single reason why the economic value and impact of female leaders is not directly assignable and also undervalued.
Because we are in a capitalistic society, and I have talked to too many women who feel ashamed for charging, ashamed for asking for a raise. Here's the bottom line. You're ready. You should be paid what you're worth right now. It's probably worth more than you're guessing. And our job is to help you survive this economy. We cannot ignore the economic system we're in.
Yes.
So I am all for the socialistic approaches and thinking through how to distribute our resources more equally and like to the people that need them. But if you don't even have your resources that you need, how can you go do that in your community? How can you go do that in your organization?
The Power of the Matriarch Unconference was very intentionally designed to approach each of these areas from both an individual self, a overall business development and growth, and the collective impact and understanding of the industry wrapped around this very female-centric, women's roles-based presentation of how does this all come together.
Designing a connection point and a place and a space and an experience for the way women move, speak, connect, feel, and what they need is what the whole goal of the 2.5 days is. From the time you land in Chicago, what is that experience like, and have we actually had you in mind while we were designing it? And the answer is yes.
Then you have your core 5, who is your sounding board. That core 5 is connected through an evaluation of the data science. So as attendees register, they're going to be receiving personality testing so that the core 5 comes together, that it is a dynamic team designed for you.
Yes.
And then as you lead into the Vanguard 20, you're gonna come back and share industry knowledge with folks in your core 5 that are not in your industry, to just say, litmus test, sounding board, what do you think? Because the Vanguard 20 was designed specifically to not only include female-dense workforces and industries, but then also looking at what is the fastest growing industries, really looking at pay equity design for women to participate. That integration and that long-term connectedness.
Yes.
Because the definition of matriarch is that woman that connects the entirety of her community together. And the power of the matriarch is ensuring that she is whole and well, so that she can continue to be
the beacon,
the driver, the change agent, whatever she is wanting for her own self, making her own decisions of how she wants to activate her energy, her efforts, and her overall care for that community.
And her capital.
And capital, yes.
Her capital.
Then that is the capital and the infusion of our focuses for this. And the Power of the Matriarch Unconference is simply a coming together, an onboarding, a level setting of communication. It's from when you leave this unconference that your core 5 will continue to be your dynamic team. Your Vanguard 20 will continue to be your industry insights. And this full Power 100 is the first capital evaluation of the impact of individual women, their energy and their efforts into our communities.
When you think about an unconference, you might find some of the elements of this to be conference-y, right? We have keynotes, we have sessions. So those things are going to feel familiar. What's going to feel unique is how much you get done in these 2.5 days for yourself, for your leadership, for the team that you're going to go back to. You're not going to question whether this was the right way to spend your time and money. You're not going to question whether you got something out of it. Every moment in this conference, you will probably need pads of paper to take away the actual actionable insights. So if I buy the VIP package, which is essentially us covering everything you're going to need for 2.5 days.
Everything,
so
every meal, the hotel rooms, every excursion, every interaction. You are basically saying, Teresa, Sunny, you've got me, let's go.
So you take that VIP pass and you say, I'm gonna go have tea at the Drake because I wanna settle my nervous system and feel like I'm in a beautiful space and take in the history of Chicago and just put yourself in a power seat right away. And then we're gonna head into our first kind of activation, right? And so I love to say that the reason we're kicking off with the particular things we're kicking off is because it's setting the tone for what we're here to do.
Power is Built is the power sessions that will be diving into starting at 5 o'clock local time on Monday, April 20th. So Dr. Paul Slosar is part of 46 Capital, whose portfolios are focused on women's health, technologies, products, comprehensive innovations on service line delivery. And 46 Capital is leading, through Dr. Paul, a conversation that will have both lead incubators from Chicago focusing on women's health, and also co-moderated by Scott Becker of Becker's Healthcare. And then Tyrone Studemeyer, who is the Senior Vice President of Global HR for the Hyatt Hotels, because we're in this beautiful Hyatt-centric on Magnificent Mile, is going to be our keynote speaker in the evening because he is such a passionate individual about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we cannot have the conversation about Power of the Matriarch, women's overall empowerment, women's overall economic value without directly and specifically addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then we lead into the next 2 days, which are full conference days. On Tuesday, April 21st and Wednesday, April 22nd, we're gonna start off with our Vanguard workshops. So each day, 9 to 10:30, 30-minute break, 11 to 12:30, 30-minute break, luncheon, keynote, and then ending the day with one last workshop. Featuring Trisetta Briggs. Now, Trisetta is incredible. She is the chair-elect for the National Association of Women Business Owners and has also supported the National Association of Women Business Owners for years on specifically the messaging and the communications of women in business. We have the wonderful Alberta Johnson, who was formerly leading HR at the City of Chicago. She is going to be doing a workshop about AI and human intelligence, of how you have to design the process as a human being within your organization and look at the fail points, look at the impacts, look at what does this mean before you transition it into an AI automated workflow and process. The other aspect of that is Annie Rahal. Annie's gonna be conducting workshops, and this is gonna be really focused on women executives that are part of larger corporate organizations. When I say larger, I'm not talking 5,000, 50,000 person organizations, but organizations that have the ability to apply enterprise level business analysis.
So we've got these 2 full days of workshops. We've got these incredible, very action-packed experiences, and these amazing people that you're going to spend time with, these intimate relationships. And then we've also got the City of Chicago, right? So there's these excursion components in the evening, and then we're also going to end on this amazing awards breakfast.
Our Power 100 Awards. We're going to be supporting the inaugural 10 women that are awarded. Applications are still open if you want to honor a woman within our 10 categories.
But there is nothing like 100 to 150 women in a room just surrounding the same topic, the same issues, and just deeply connecting over how they're experiencing the world and how they're moving through the world.
For those that are not going to be on the VIP and you want to go explore with your core 5. We're in the dead middle of Magnificent Mile, so you have all of the options afforded to you.
If you're in my core 5, we're probably going to go there. We wanted to make sure that, unlike other conferences where you get to your room at 11 p.m. and you're like, oh my God, I haven't eaten, I haven't breathed, I haven't drank water. Like, no.
No, that's not this.
You are done at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and the world is your oyster. And you can be the introverted, like take an evening yoga class, I don't care, or go to a dinner and have a great time. So that kind of intimacy of choice.
We'll have a full map of recommended and curated experiences for you to explore with. Well, friends, thank you for joining us today. For more information on the Power of the Matriarch, please take a look at our conference website, joyofu.io/unconference.
We'll see you in Chicago. I've been dreaming of bringing women together in a bigger space and really magnifying the love Lizzie-ness of things and allowing us to shine lights on women that are doing extraordinary work in the world. And I just feel like this is going to be a really, 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 really great 2.5 days doing that. So I'm really looking forward to spending the time together.
Same, friend. Thank you.